Okay, salvete. So just recapping, this is part 2 of lines 12 through 33. We got Urbs antiqua fuit, there was an ancient city. Tirii tenuere coloni, the Tyrians, colonists, held it. This Carthage, Carthago, Italiam constra Tiberniaque longe ostia, dives opum studiis quasperima belli. Carthage, far across from Italy and the Tiber's mouths, very rich of resources, and very harsh in the studies of war. Quam iuno fertur terris magis omnibus unam post habitat coluis sesamo, which Juno is said to have loved. And this is an infinitive because when she is said to have something, okay, then we use an infinitive with that. It's what we call indirect statement, and I talk about it in a grammar video. When you say something, usually it follows with an infinitive. Okay. Juno is said to have loved. Okay. Verb of saying and then an infinitive. She is said to have loved it alone, solam, more than all lands. It means all other lands. With even, I'm kind of putting that in, with even her Samos, the island of Samos, esteemed less, loved less, post habita. Like had behind, I guess. Hic ilius arma, hic currus fuit. Hic, okay, this is, see this repetition here? Hic ilius arma, hic currus fuit. Hic is kind of like putting in an and, but a poetic way of doing it. It's like here and here. Okay, and when you have repetition of a word, they also call that anaphora, and that's pretty important to be able to identify that literary device, that little figure of speech. Anaphora is repetition of a word for poetic effect. Hic hilius arma, hic currus fuit. Okay, so the verb is fuit, which means there was. And it was, here was her arms, and ilius is the arms of that one, meaning Juno, of that one. It comes from ille, and it's a genitive. So here, in this place, was her arms. If I said it was this, I'm sorry, it's hic. The difference between hic with a long I is here, and hic with a short I is this, from hic, haec, hoc. Okay, so if I said it was hic, sorry, it's hic. Hic ilius arma. Here was the arms of her, okay, or the arms of that one, her armor, meaning in a temple in Samos. She had her arms, okay. Here was her chariot. Okay, she had a chariot in this place also, apparently. Here was her chariot. So that's subject. Now notice arma is plural technically, but currus is singular, so we end up having a singular verb here. We don't say fuerunt, but you just take the fuet with both of those, and it means fuerunt. Here was her armor. Here was her chariot. Hoc regnum dea gentibus esse, si qua fatasinant, iam tum tenditque foetque. This one is kind of tricky right here. The goddess is the subject. Okay, the goddess. Then, okay, tum was already tended. Was already, hoping, stretching for, is tended, was, striving for. Foet is to cherish, okay, like coluit. The goddess then already was hoping for, was contending for, was both contending for and, you got two quays, was both contending for and was cherishing. And now you're going to have an indirect statement, okay, so you're going to need an infinitive here. She was hoping and intending that, okay, that this kingdom, okay, this kingdom, meaning Carthage, was to be, okay, was to be. It's like futurum esse, was to be. Or another way you could say this was the goddess now, then was already hoping and cherishing this kingdom to be, to be, for gentibus, for the people, okay? She was, maybe you could say it like this, the goddess was contending and hoping this to be the kingdom for the peoples. It means like for omnis gentibus, for all peoples, I think, or the greatest kingdom of all. Okay, so regnum goes with gentibus, for people. It's a dative. Si qua fata sinant. Sino means to allow, and if the fates subject allowed it. Qua means like qua re, in any way. Si aliqua. Si, when si comes before an aliqua, the ali disappears. Okay, so this really means si aliqua. If the fates allowed it in any way. Okay, there's a little chant that goes before num si nisi ne, all the alis go away. So aliqua is really what this qua is, but because a C is in front of it, the Romans just usually take out ali. Okay, and it means aliqua re, I think, if in any way the fates would allow it. Okay, the fates are these goddesses that allow the gods and men to do certain things, and so if the fates would allow it, she is hoping that this will be futurum esse. You could put in a futurum there, which is the future. Futurum esse will be the kingdom for all peoples, for the peoples, if in any way the fates allow this. Okay. Finish this part off. Progenium sed etiam Trojana sanguine duci audierat. Tyria solem quae verteret arces. Okay, so your verb here is audierat, which is audierat. It means audierat. It's a pluperfect. She had heard. Okay, she had heard that, and there's another indirect statement, that an offspring. Okay, and Juno is the subject here. Juno had heard that an offspring. Okay, and this is like, but however, she had heard that an offspring. So we're changing our little subject here a little bit. Was led. Okay, was led. Duci was led. Remember, ducere is to lead, but duci, since ducere has a short e, then its passive infinitive becomes duci. Okay, because that e is weak and kind of goes off. So not ducere, duci. She had heard that an offspring was led, was brought forth. Okay, a Trojano sanguine, from Trojan blood. Okay, so those go together, from Trojan blood, because the Romans come from Trojan blood, from Aeneas. And then you got to put in which, okay, which, olim, one day, would verteret, and this is a subjunctive because it's like it hasn't actually happened yet. It's an imperfect subjunctive, verteret, which one day would overturn the Tyrias arches, the Tyrian citadels. Arx means citadel, like the center of a city that's very strong. She heard that one day Rome would destroy Carthage. Tyrian citadels refers to Carthage. Okay, so, but however, she had heard, Juno had heard, that an offspring led from Trojan blood was, coming. Okay, there was an offspring. You got to put in, which one day would overturn the Tyrian citadels. Dun dun dun. This is the future of what Rome will do to Carthage. Okay, and we'll move on to the next installment.